y'all? It's been forever since I've done one of these. Oh my gosh, it's been forever. We are back in the living room, honey, and we have something very, I think, in this climate of the world that we are currently in, I think it's going to be a super good topic. I know for me personally, in my personal life, it's a good topic for me because I'm a student today. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm a student today. I'm in Kelly's classroom, and I'm really hoping that for me personally, I can grow through this conversation, but also
Mhm.
maybe someone else who could be in a weird place concerning our topic could also grow. So y'all, it's me, Adriann, for the Living Room Podcast with my sister in love, Kelly. Hey girl,
Hey y'all,
how you feeling today?
feeling good. Today was a good day. Besides the pollen, I'm good.
No, for real though. Today, and it's crazy because lately my Fridays have not been good for me at work. They've been like super, super busy. And I'm like, Friday used to be an easy day. Why is Friday starting to feel like Monday?
They do. They do. Fridays have become really busy.
What is going on? I should not be working this hard on a Friday. But we made it. We made it. So, as always, we're in the living room. We're going to start. Kelly, you've been here before. So, I
Yes.
am going to specify. And I'm going to ask if you could give me your most recent living room memory or any kind of memory that you've made as of lately since the last time we chatted.
So weird thing about our living room is we hardly ever use it. So when we do, when we do come together as a we come together as a family and we have movie night. So our living room is our like family night room. Because any
Okay.
other time we're like dispersed.
Mhm.
So that's our place, our sacred place where we hang together, we bond, watch movies. Even though it's three of us and two of them be sleep, but it's all good.
Not they both. Wait a minute. Somebody got to be up with you. Why they both sleep?
They'll ask questions after it's over, but it's all good. This is our moment.
Mm-mm.
That's
Good
our
time. Don't
place.
be asking. Listen, so I have started this thing. I want to say it was like late end of last year. I started this whole thing in my head, like Family Night Friday, where we can all of us in the same place, do something. I think it might have lasted about 3 Fridays. And then it just went back to you good, I love you, like you love me too. Okay, we're good. That's our check-in. That's what we're doing because the kids are getting older, right?
Hmm.
And then he and I are always just at this point right now, it seems like on two different schedules. So it's like we have to try to make that time, but even when the
Yeah.
times are available, me personally, I just want to sleep right now. Like I love you. I know you love me too. I just want to sleep. I just want to sleep.
I feel you on that. With life, these days it gets so busy. Like kids are in activities, we have work, we have church, we have things that we want to do, me time, all that good stuff. But we just have to make sure that every once in a while we do make that living room time with our family.
Right. Yeah. Matter of fact, so I used to work in our bedroom. Like I had this whole like setup in our bedroom. But I noticed, and I also read a study where they said like working in your bedroom if you work from home isn't like the best idea because
Yeah.
you're going to bed thinking about work, you're waking up, you're seeing work. So I moved everything out. And now whenever I'm working late in the evenings, they'll like, the kids might come in there, or he might come in there. So then today they came in there and everybody's like watching TV and it doesn't bother me. But then I look over and the TV on, but they sleep. And I'm like, and y'all didn't like, I'm thinking, okay, maybe this is gonna be the moment, girl. Alani stretched out on the couch and worked 4 jobs. He looking at me like listen, I'm not off yet.
But I did read, just that touching is bonding. Like even if we're asleep or whatever, just skin to skin is
Hmm.
bonding. Even with your kids.
Are you a physical touch person?
I'm not, but I read that.
I'm not. No, not no.
I need my space. I get hot. Like stop touching me. But I did read that. So if you're a touchy person, that's good. If you're
I can
listening.
right if it works for y'all, it don't work for us. I can do it when it's time to go to bed because I'm like almost like a cat, somewhere between a cat and a baby. I need to be kind of like petted to sleep. It just makes that sleep a little bit
Hmm.
more deep. But just to be sitting up here touching each other, and I'm just, I'm not doing it.
Like holding hands is a bonding thing, but
I
mm,
love that for them.
yeah, it's sweet when you see other people do it.
Yes, it really. And I had once before, then we'll get started, y'all. I had once said to him, I was like, "You don't like PDA, do you? Because you don't be kissing me in the stores like other people do. We don't be holding hands. We just be there, like we speed in, we speed out." And he literally looked at me and he was like, "What would you do if I really kissed you?" And I was like, "I would be so grossed out if you kissed me right now. Like, don't do that. Have some cool. What are you doing?
Oh, that touchy feely stuff. Save it for the bedroom.
Right? What is we doing in here? We saving it for the altar though, so we just gotta wait. We
Yeah,
just gotta keep it where it's at for right now. Don't be tempting me."
for real.
But today, y'all, I reached out to Kelly the other day and I asked her if she wanted to have a little chit chat with me about purpose. I personally feel like I am in a season of my life where God is changing a whole lot. And I'm gonna be honest, some of these changes I ain't really signed up for. I don't think I
Mm-mm.
put my down on the list for some of these changes. I don't think I asked him to put me in that number. But I think the beauty of change and the beauty of change through God is that it's gonna come when you don't want it to come. Or it's gonna come in those moments where you least kind of expect it to come. And it kind of made me personally think or reflect on, am I afraid of the change or am I afraid of the purpose with the change? And I was in church one Sunday and I'm gonna tell you how intentional God is. So back in November, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pick my podcast back up. I'm gonna start back putting these episodes together. I'm gonna do it. Like I'm gonna do it because for some reason I can't stop. Like I might get lazy with it, but there's always that something there. Like, oh man, I should do an episode. I should talk about this. So it's like I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I filmed the episode with your big head husband, and I let every reason possible keep me from sitting down, editing it, and then putting it out. It was work, or then first it was, oh, Thanksgiving is coming. I'm gonna do it after Thanksgiving. Then after Thanksgiving, oh, my birthday is coming. I'm gonna edit it after my birthday, and then you got Christmas, and it was just always like a reason to do something. And I was in church, and the pastor was preaching a sermon about it was from the book of Jeremiah. He was speaking about like purpose and like just basically like Jeremiah 29:11. I know the plans I have for you, plans to
Mhm.
prosper you and not harm you. And that's actually my favorite Bible scripture because I am very insecure when it comes to doing certain projects and when it comes to leaping out there and putting myself in a position to where I'm the spotlight. I would much rather be the girl in the background volunteering. I don't want to be the girl on the front line. That's not me. But it convicted me in a way. So I started typing up the episode, what I'm gonna do, what I'm gonna talk about, and then I put it down. And then God begins to do all these crazy changes in my life, and I'm like, am I afraid of just the changes, or am I really afraid of the fact that these changes are also aligned to my purpose? And maybe I'm afraid of what my purpose could be. Because for me, purpose comes with a lot of intentionality, a lot of sacrifice, and a lot of you have to trust. And trust for me is not easy. So whenever I reached out to you, I was actually watching a sermon from Sarah, and she was talking about it was crazy enough, it was the Woman Evolve conference that we went to together. And remember, she was speaking from the book of Esther, and
Yes.
she spoke about her passage came from the very moment when Esther's cousin was like, what is, basically, what is the irony that you were appointed for such a time as this? Like, what is the chances of that? And for whatever weird reason, like hearing that again, it just convicted me in a complete different way because I'm like, what if this is the moment that maybe he's trying to position me for something and I'm running from it? Maybe I'm running from my purpose. Maybe I'm running from all that I need to be. So I was like, you know what? I think Kelly would be the best person to have this conversation with, because I see what you do on the front lines in the community with your church as a mom, as a wife, especially with that boy as your husband. Because I see all that you do, and but what I see most of all in all those roles is you fulfilling a purpose. And only you would be able to really know what that purpose looks like. But even from the outside looking in, I couldn't help but say, when I think about the people in my life, who is the person that is operating from a place of purpose, who is succeeding, who is doing something. So I really wanted to just talk to you. I wanted to pick your brain. I wanted to have a conversation so I could grow, girl, and so these people could grow. Because I feel like everybody just out here doing stuff. Like,
It's crazy that you mentioned the conference because I remember on break, me and you and a couple other ladies, we were sitting in the conference and we were talking
oh,
about me and you had the conversation about some ideas, some visions, some things that you're going to be doing on the big stage. So it's crazy that that sermon popped back up.
you know what's even crazier? Let me tell you something. God gonna stop playing with me. Listen, I get it. Okay, I hear you, big guy. So crazy enough, Kelly, you are the only person I have ever shared. You and the women sitting there are the only people I've ever shared that information to. I've only expressed that to. Why the same day I was sitting there talking to you, God put it on my heart to put together something of that caliber, but very small and intimate. And my exact words to him in that moment was, "You got to find somebody else." Cause in my head, I'm not there yet. I'm not where I want to be. I don't think that I don't think that I am the person for the job right now. So it's me telling him, "You gonna have to give me a little bit more time." But he's telling me back, "I ain't giving you no more time. You literally have to pick, like, you either have to step in this and do it now or you don't." And I don't find it that a coincidence that you would be able to, one, remember that, and then two, bring it back up in this very moment, because after I spoke it to you, I kind of put it on the shelf. Like I do a lot of things. Like I have these ideas and it's like I want to do this and I feel like I'm supposed to do this, but then I just put it on the shelf because I'm like,
So
maybe I'm
why do you feel that you're not ready? Why would he even tell you that if he doesn't? And if you're not ready, obviously he's going to get you ready. So why would you limit yourself? Like, how would you know that this is not the purpose that I need to be walking in if you never even step out?
mm. I think I'm gonna be, PK has a thing. He said, if you can't say amen, you say ouch. I'm gonna be, because I don't know. I
Well,
don't
you
know.
never know. Sometimes you got to take that leap of faith.
Kelly, I'm
And
be
if it
honest.
failed, then hey, you just move on to the next thing.
You're right. But I'm wondering if he missed the mark. Like maybe it was another Adriann that was real close to me. And he was
I
like, let
know.
me.
Person that say their name like that, you're the only one. You're the only one.
He had to have missed the mark. Cause I be sometimes, Kelly, when I'm telling you, when I text you this very day, I was having, cause I'm doing so it's Lent season, right? So
Hmm.
January, I did the Daniel fast, and I personally love what I got out of that fast. So I was like, you know what? For Lent season, I'm gonna do another fast, but I'm actually carrying it out a lot longer than just past Easter. But whenever I was like doing my thing that I do in the morning, starting my day with, intention, with my devotion, with my sermon, before I
Hmm.
feed my spirit or feed my mind with anything else, like I'm taking that time to do that. And I'm sitting here going back and forth and I'm just like, have you not seen my track record? Do you not know? And it's not terrible. It's not bad, right? But none of
Yeah.
us are perfect. And I'm like, I don't really think that this is what you want. You don't want this from me. You can't want this from me. So then I play that game with God about, well, if it's really real, then do X,
Show me
Y,
a
and Z.
sign. make manna fall from heaven again and show me a sign. Open up the clouds. I need to see your face to face. Tell me in my ear.
That
No.
part. All the things. I need all the things for me to get in line. Have you ever felt like that? Walking into your season of where you are?
Well, for me, it was a lot of I just wasn't feeling it. And this is more in my professional life.
Mhm.
Like having this dream, this vision of what I wanted to do, and
Mhm.
going after this job and getting there and just feeling so like after a while, like this not it. But the
Mhm.
moment that you know when you're walking into your purpose is when your purpose will align with who you are. It won't, I mean, not saying that it won't be obstacles, it won't be troubles, it won't be challenges, but you will know it. It will align.
Girl, Kelly. I crap you not. I'm about to go get my notebook. Kelly, I crap you not. I am studying. So right now I'm studying the book of John, right?
Hmm.
And I was I started over. I was reading chapter 1 the other night and I was taking notes about John. And in my head I'm like I'm trying to understand because Matthew, Mark and Luke also have their versions of what happened around this time period. So in my head I'm like reading and I'm like I'm wondering why is John's version so much more intimate? Like why does his just hit and
It
feel a little
is.
bit different? So I'm Googling, okay, who was John? What was John like? And it's saying these character traits of John. And a note, I kid you not, I'm going to take a picture of it when we get off of this doggone thing. I kid you not, I wrote a note to myself and I said, if your character traits do not align with your purpose, you are not operating in purpose, but instead potential. And you literally just said who you are has to align with, girl, I'm about to go. I'm tired of this man.
Well,
I
you
get
asked
it.
God for a sign. He
He
used
go.
me.
Girl, I'm not finna play these games. Cause why would you say that, Kelly?
But listen, it's true. Like you will know it, you will feel it. You'll find
Mm-hmm,
joy. You know how some people say that, it's no longer a job for me because I
mm-hmm,
enjoy it.
mm-hmm,
That's how you will feel, you know. You won't be uncomfortable. You will have some challenges, of course. You will have some struggles, some obstacles you'll have to overcome, but
mm-hmm,
you will just know. You will feel it.
mm-hmm. Where do you feel like outside of your career goals in the work environment, do you feel like you've ever had to step into an uncomfortable place of purpose in any other role, or do you feel like it's only been in that particular area?
No, even with church, I was
Mm-hmm,
like you. Like I was so comfortable in the background. I was so comfortable being behind the scenes on the computer typing stuff, like
mm-hmm.
organizing behind the scenes.
That's what we
And
do.
yeah, that's what we do. And that's our comfort zone. But that may
Right.
not be what God want us to be. So
Mm-hmm.
1 year, our pastor, apostle, made a rule. Everybody in position had to go through these like ministers training classes.
Mm-hmm.
So I went through the classes being obedient. And
Mm-hmm.
then they saw something in me. And that's when I got pushed, to sort of the forefront, with the preaching and the teaching and the things of that nature. And at first it was very uncomfortable. Like I didn't like, I wasn't a talker in front of people. Like you get me behind the scenes and I know you, then we can laugh and have a good time. And I talk all
Mm-hmm.
day. But in
Mm-hmm.
front of people, and especially people I don't know, people that I haven't known for a while, I was very uncomfortable. But now I can see that this was my purpose. It's so
Mm-hmm.
fulfilling now to help people, to pray for people, to encourage people, especially the youth. It makes me better. It makes like giving makes me smile. It helps my spirit. So I know it's my purpose on what I'm doing. I just had to step on out, not be scared, and just hey, either sink or swim.
Not swim. What? Give me a floaty.
Yeah, sink or swim, baby. Once you get out there, I'm the type of I'm gonna give it my all. If I'm asked to do something, I'm gonna give it my all. But you'll know if it's like, nah, this ain't me, or if it's just was uncomfortable for me because it's not something that I'm accustomed to. I just have to
Mm-hmm.
overcome that obstacle.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
And
the difference.
I also find in this particular society that we're living in, this climate, that everything is so fast paced, right? Everybody wants everything to happen so fast. And what I'm honestly learning about being in purpose, aligning with your purpose, is that it takes time.
It does take time. It took me
And
years to get to where I am, and I'm still a little uncomfortable sometimes. I'm still getting nervous. I still
mhm,
have the butterflies. I still try to find every excuse why I can't do it, but I can never think of a good one.
ain't no good one.
But then once you're done, you're like, man, that felt good. So it's a step at a time, but you got to start with a step.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you got to take
Yeah,
at least one step and start walking in that direction.
I'm a I'm gonna walk around a few times.
Not going in circles.
I'm gonna just stretch out a little bit, just a little stretch. And you said something that was really good, because it's something that I personally struggle with, and I'm pretty sure someone watching this also struggles with it. Is that you said that you did it, you did the classes, you did the training because you were being obedient. For me, I'm noticing that obedience is also directly tied to purpose. So if you are being disobedient, then you are never gonna unlock that purpose, because how can you get something if you're not following through with it?
Yeah.
I'm very disobedient. I don't think I'm necessarily disobedient. I just be wanting to know, like, are you sure? Like, I know you got everything on lock up there, but you
And
sure that this what you want me to do down here? Like, are you sure?
you
I'm
just
asking.
never know the reasoning behind something, and then years later you'll look back and say, I mean, that's why I went through that. That's why I went there. That's why I took those classes. That's why I had to deal with this relationship. That's why those kids did. You could be able to look back and realize that everything that happened in your life was to help you walk in your purpose.
I'm about to hang up on you. I listen. I'm about to hang up on you, because we're gonna have to end up having a kiki after this, because I can't tell you my business. But you just listen. The childhood Adriann, the her in this season, she is able to look back and say, you know what, that did make a whole lot of sense. In this season. In that season, I was like,
Yeah,
this
when,
can
when you when you're going through it, you don't understand.
not be right. Like, what is going on? But
Yeah.
and that's really good. Sometimes we only find our purpose. Oh, that was another. This was just some of the points I had. Sometimes we only find purpose when we separate from what we see. So
Mm.
I know for me, that's also a big thing. Getting out of, for people who are listening, I would say getting out of any kind of environment that is going to keep that veil over your eye where you can't see your purpose. Because if you're looking at everything that isn't your purpose, then how would you ever see your purpose?
And then a lot of times we get complacent. Like this is I can't see outside of this city, or I can't see outside of these circumstances. How I grew up, this is all I know, and you just never know what's. It's a big old whole world out there. You just
Real
never know
big.
what's out there until you open your eyes to it. A lot of times we get blinded by our circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are some things that you have done to kind of overcome some of the obstacles?
I'm
Even
almost
with starting this living room podcast, I'm pretty sure there were obstacles, there were doubts, even with it.
you know, so I don't know if you're like this, and I don't know if this really has anything to do with being a Sagittarius or if it's just the person that I am. But I do really good. I feel like I perform my best when I'm under pressure, right? So what with this podcast, I had started it and it was called something completely different, and the format of it was completely different. And I didn't really like it because it didn't really like it didn't really make sense to me. Like I feel like it made sense to the audience that was watching it at that time, because it definitely wasn't the same audience I'm trying to trigger and I'm going for now. Um, but it didn't feel good to me. Like it didn't come to me easy. I felt like it was forced, so I stopped. And I was laying in the bed, and I promise you, literally, it was something that I had been praying about, because I knew what I wanted to do in terms of like what do I want to get out of this? Like what do I want the podcast to be for? What am I trying to do? What am I trying to say? And God honestly began to speak to me, like everything about it, from the colors of what I wanted the the logo to be, what I wanted it to represent, the meaning, all of it. It just kind of came to me so easily. But even in that moment, I feel like it was still a power struggle between doing what he had given me to do versus doing what I thought people were going to want to entertain. Right? Because whoever starts something and you kind of just be like, I think I'm gonna be okay if I just put this out there and it don't even grow and it don't, don't do nothing. It's like buying a plant and being like, well, if it grow, it grow. If it don't, it don't.
Yeah.
So it was like, I know what you've given me, but it's like I'm kind of struggling to do that and operate in that, because again, I don't feel like I'm worthy of doing that. I don't feel like I'm worthy of saying that message. And I can't even say that it's something that I've gotten over, because Kelly, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's still super hard for me. Like I get ideas all the time of things that I want to talk about on the podcast, and girl, it's so crazy to the fact to where I feel like I try to put myself in those places to overcome those insecurities that are obstacles for me. But I feel like I'm still struggling with it, because I don't know if I don't trust my gift that he's given me, or if I don't trust myself with it.
You got to be yourself. Let your personality shine through. That's what I learned, even with putting sermons together. I have to be me. Like I can't
Mhm.
go out and try to sound like a preacher per se.
Mhm.
My
Mhm.
personality have to shine through, and then that's what people gravitate to. My personality. I'm not trying to be like my dad or sound like my dad. I have to be
Mhm.
me, and that's the only way that I can be, successful in delivering the message that will, resonate with the people. I have to be me.
Mhm.
My personality, I let my personality shine through. Of course, I have, the structure, the basic structure, the outline, and all of that
Mhm.
stuff. But when my deliverance, the whole time, and that's how I can able to get it out. Like anything, anybody that's listening, and when you're walking into your purpose, don't try
Mhm.
to, fit into what you think people want to hear, or what you think people want to see, or how you think people want you to deliver it. You got to let your light, your personality shine through, because there's nobody else out there like it. So he called you for this purpose. Obviously he wanted you to do it, not Joel Osteen, not TD Jakes, not Vivica Fox, or whoever else out there. You got to let your personality shine through.
And you also, I feel like, have to let go of expectation, because that's another
Definitely.
obstacle. To answer your question, that's another obstacle for me, because starting off, it was like I had this expectation of, okay, well, this is probably what it's going to look like, and this is the response I'm going to get in the audience. You got to let go of your expectation, because God might give you what you want, but it definitely won't be in the package you thought it was gonna come in. He don't operate like that. It's never always the way we exactly want it to be. It's just always some curvature to it in it. So also me trying to let go of my expectation of it, to where once I think, because I've done that, I've definitely let go of my expectation, to where now before I do a podcast, the one thing I tell myself is I want to make an impact, and I just want it to land wherever it has to land. I don't have a target audience that I'm trying to engage with this. I don't have a specific person. I don't care about the views. I just want it to land wherever it's going to land, because then now I'm making it more so about what he put inside of me to share, instead of what kind of physical response I'm looking for.
Yeah, and that was the thing with me too. I'm like, oh, is people gonna receive this, or people gonna, like this message, and that was a problem for me. Kind of still is, if I want to be honest. But I have to let that go and just, deliver. because obviously he's going to have who he want to hear that message in place to hear that message. It's
Mm-hmm.
for a purpose. We don't know who it's for, or why we're doing it sometimes, but we just have to let go of, oh, I hope they like it. I hope somebody we got to let that go and just do what we came to do.
And just be trying to find, like you said earlier, be trying to find reasons to get out of it, because you don't know what it's going to end up looking like anyway. But if you selling yourself short before you even do it, then it's like, no, you never will know.
That's the thing. You just never know. And then, like I said before, like once it's delivered and it's out, and you're like, man, that really felt good. You get that sense of like, oh wow. So we just got to do it.
And then another thing that I've been realizing, and this is also just something that I've kind of picked up from just different studies that I've been doing, trying to be more intentional about learning myself more in this season, learning, okay, what does this person look like? If I'm gonna say I'm walking into whatever this purpose is, and I'm still trying to 100% figure that out clearly, because I be needing a little bit more signs than the next person. But also knowing that whatever is spoken over your life, whether it's related to the church or it's related to the community, whatever was designed for you to do, that's what you have to fulfill. So if it was orchestrated and designed and put that way for us to do it, then that's what we have to do one way or another.
And what you think about this, like your purpose changing? Because I feel like your purpose can change or be adjusted to get you to that ultimate purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Like I
I,
said before, like sometimes you go through different things and you may be here for a season, doing this for a season, doing this for a season in order to get you to that ultimate purpose. What you think about
I
that?
I 1000% agree with it. I hate it personally, because I just got comfortable over here on level 3, and now you want. But I agree with it, because when you think about all of these wonderful, thriving companies and businesses, right? They didn't start off that way. They had to make a whole lot of adjustments, a whole lot of changes to even get to where they're going. And then in those meetings, I'm pretty sure the conversation that they're always having is, well, what's next? What are we doing
Mhm.
next? One of the people who I just absolutely look up to, and I really appreciate this person's grind and their hustle, is Kevin Hart. And the
Yeah.
way that he operates, and he does so much, and this man is always working, and there's always something to do.
Always.
And the one time that I had an encounter with him and I had a conversation with him, the only thing that he could tell me is just keep going. You just have to keep going. You have to keep doing it, and it's gonna look different on every level. But if you want to get to the next level, you have to keep going. And I agree that purpose is change, because it's not always gonna just be that purpose. I think once we execute one thing, then God is like, okay, well, let me take you to this next phase. Let me open up this next door, because he does those things in divine order and divine intention based on what we can handle in that season of our life. So I think once
Yeah.
we master that one thing, then it's like, okay, well, now you're ready for a little bit more. I'm be honest, I think he put too much on my plate right now, but I can't tell him take nothing off, so I'm just here. And it's kind of like, back in the day, I don't know if Miss Sophia was like this, but I know my grandmother was. She had a rule: you cannot get up from the table until you clean the plate. Point blank, period. This is where you're gonna be. What you gonna do? And I
Oh
think
my
that that's
goodness.
how it is with purpose. Like, you can't move to the next area until you've eaten and digested this. I agree with that. I don't like it, but I do agree.
Yeah, definitely don't like it. I was the one that was still sitting at the table all night because I wouldn't.
And don't
Eventually,
let
I
it
had to go to sleep.
Kelly, don't let it be no peas. I'm sitting right here sleeping at this table.
Yeah,
What?
but think about it. Companies sometimes have to rebrand, reorganize, restructure, and then
Oh,
changed.
yes. Girl, everything
Everything
changed.
changed.
You see, but I'm glad you brought up COVID, because you know how most of the time, I think 99% of people hate change, right? But do you see how sometimes when the change is beneficial to the person, they're okay with it? because when COVID happened, you had a lot of jobs moved to remote. Oh, they love that, child. I know I still love it. You had the kids, they had to come home. We ain't too much like that because while you in my,
Mm-mm.
but the idea of not all change is bad change. I think that we as people sometimes, instead of taking the change for face value of what it really is, we manipulate, pick at it, and try to distinguish it and turn it into what we want it to be. Because though COVID came and it was a disaster for a lot of people who lost their lives and people lost loved ones, but you also had this thing with the PPP come out, and the PPP boys went crazy, and people love that change. And then you got these businesses, and you had these stimuluses, and you had all this stuff where people were okay with that particular change, but then there was also the downside of it. So I think it's so beautiful that you said that, because it's a perfect example of how change at times definitely is uncomfortable, but you have to find your comfort in it.
And then sometimes you gotta prepare for it change. Sometimes you can, you know, future, we don't know what it may hold, but we know that things are always changing in technology, advancement, and things of that nature. So we always got to try to stay a step ahead. And the people that couldn't adjust with the change, the businesses and even churches, they fell off.
They did. They did.
To stay on the boat, you gotta
Not the
be
boat.
willing. You gotta stay. We had an English teacher in high school that always say, "Don't fall off the boat." But
Baby,
but if
I'm
you
in the
want to
water.
pick me up, give me a net, something. But you got to be willing to adjust with time.
Mm-hmm.
Even though this may be your purpose may not look the same tomorrow as it looked today. It's still your purpose, but you have to adjust. You have to, reorganize, restructure, rebrand. Think about new ways to deliver the information that you're trying to deliver the services that you're trying to deliver, because you got to keep up with time.
You
People ain't
do.
walking around with checkbooks anymore. You got to be able to accept Cash App or Zelle or something.
Listen, Kelly, I still got a checkbook though. You don't have a checkbook?
I did, but I don't know. Maybe I should have said cash. Because people
Girl,
do
I
still
wrote a
need
check
checks.
up. Let me tell you something. For them IRS people that like to play in my face, you getting slow payment. I'm putting this in the mail.
Mail.
You gonna get this extra slow, okay? Them checks. But no, I completely agree with you. And I think that even with for the people who are listening, maybe okay, maybe you don't have a business. Maybe this doesn't apply to you with that. Maybe you don't want to do anything extra special, right? In the community. Start a bit, a company, or, be a landmark for people, a public speaker. Maybe that don't apply to you, but it does always apply to you when it comes to evolving and growing, because that is something that we all should be doing as individuals, whether you make the fries at McDonald's or you're the CEO of McDonald's, everybody in between, we all have to adjust and we have to find our purpose and find our change in that. So I think what you said again was really great. With every day that you wake up, you have to reevaluate that day for what that day is going to be, because yesterday has gone, tomorrow
Hmm.
isn't here yet. So yeah, we're going to prepare for tomorrow and make sure that we're ready to conquer it. But what are we going to do today on this particular dialogue to try to do better?
Yeah, and that's good, because you can't forget to live in the moment. Sometimes we get so caught up in, a lot of people let their past hold them back, and a lot of people are so focused on the future that we forget to live in the moment. Like, take a step back, pause, and be happy in the place that you're in.
What would
Pause
you
and take a smile.
No, for real, smile hard, because these people be walking around angry. What
Full
is your
face. What's it bad for?
gosh? What would you say to the person who is not walking in their purpose because they're struggling with their past?
Baby, listen. If God can forget about your past, forget about your past. And one thing I think a lot of people that suffer with their past holding on to them are two things. One, either their shame of them, feel down in themselves, or they're worried about what other people may think. If I step out now, what they're gonna think about who I use? Who cares? Who cares? I'm the type of person, I don't care.
Hold on, I gotta wait.
Don't hide, show that face, because those are the only two. Those are the top two. I say the top two reasons that I see. They're
Mm-hmm.
ashamed of what they've done or how they lived or who they used to be or where they come from. Some people are just ashamed of where they come from. Or
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm a nobody. I didn't come from anything, or I made this mistake, that mistake. Or I'm worried about what somebody else may think, how they may see me. You gotta let all that go.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta let all that go because you have, so much greatness in each and every one of you, so much potential, so much purpose. Like somebody out there may be waiting on you to step out so that they can realize their own potential. But you won't step out, so now they can't step out. Then the person that was supposed to step out after them can't step. So it's a whole chain of people that you holding back because you won't step out.
Everybody in the line waiting.
Everybody
Everybody,
waiting for
and
you.
they mad.
They confused, they
They
hurt,
mad.
but because somebody needs to see your light shining, so they light can shine. They can feel brave enough to step out in their light. We can't let our past hold us back. It's the past. It happened. Use it. Like if I've been to prison, use that experience to stop somebody else from making that same mistake. If I used
Right.
to be, how can I say this on your channel? if I used to,
What's in the room? You can say
if
whatever.
I used to be a strong in a fast tail, how can I use that to help somebody else? No
Right.
matter where we come from, our struggles, we got the power to overcome them.
Mm-hmm.
Let go of our past, and like I said, use it as a testimony. This is where I come from. I made this mistake. I did that. My parents didn't have this, but let me teach you better. Because a lot of times, my dad used to say a lot of the elders used to tell them this. I got it the hard way. You got to get the hard way. I got to get it the hard way. Let me stop you from making the same mistakes I get. Let me show you some of the tips that I learned along the way to help you out. But
And you
don't let
know,
your past hold you back. It's the past for a reason.
and I think that that's so amazing because I do find that, with the older generation, which we low key becoming the older generation, but with the older generation, they did have to experience that, and then people telling them that, and then they told their children that at times, and it's like I don't. For me personally, I don't want you struggling. I don't want my child to have to do what I'm doing.
Exactly.
She came to me the other day and she just be talking because that's just what Alani be doing, child. She be giving me the business. And she said to me, she said, Mommy, I can't wait till I get older. Because in her head, 13 is older. So she's like, I can't get older and I'm gonna go get me a job. And I said, well, chicken, when you gonna get you a job? She said, well, when I'm older, when I'm like 13. And I'm like, no, that's not old enough. But she said to me, she said, I'm gonna be just like you and I'm gonna work where you work. And I said, no, baby, I don't want you to work where I work. I want you to do way more than me. She was like, but you just do so good. But I want you to be way more than me because there's no way in this world I'm finna work as hard as I'm working, so you can then work as hard as I work. Like having work ethic is one thing, but struggling to get it there is something completely different, and we shouldn't want that for the generations coming after us.
Exactly. And then that's another thing. Raising these kids are totally different than it used to be back in the day. They have
For real.
so much access to so much knowledge and information out there that you just can't tell them know anything these days. So you have to be that example and you have to, you know, counter the stuff that they see on the internet with, your truth and your faith and your spirituality and teaching them lessons and how to behave and how to act in public. Because, baby, these role models that they have,
It's shaky.
it's a little shaky. The foundation ain't firm as it needs to be.
Girl, they didn't
So,
wait for that to get hard at all. They just started building on it. Like, what are we doing?
what they say, they jump straight off the porch. They ain't wait for nothing to be.
Girl,
So,
straight
we,
off the.
we do have to be that example.
And you know what I got out of that also with that, with breaking those generational curses that a lot of people like to refer to them as and doing better for the kids? It all starts with walking in your own purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Because how can you do those things if you're not walking in your purpose? If you're not finding your purpose, somebody might be on here right now and you're like, well, I don't even know what my purpose is. Well, we can't tell you what it is, but I'm pretty sure you do know it if you really think
Yeah.
about it because it's in you. There's no, like, I don't think people necessarily find a purpose because the purpose is already there. It was
Yeah.
planted in. You
Mm-hmm.
may have discover it, which I would like to use that word better, because you don't find it because it's there. Now,
It's there.
learning it, nurturing it, growing it, yes, those things do have to happen, but we all have a purpose. And maybe yours don't look like ours, but you have to take a step towards seeing what it is, because that same purpose is 9 times out of 10 or 10 times out of 10 directly connected to the next elevation in your life.
And it's not as difficult as we try to make it seem. Finding our purpose, like, ask yourself, what do I like to do? What do I enjoy? What makes me smile? When am I at my best?
Eating.
Those are the things that we can ask ourselves to discover our purpose.
Maybe I should be a food critic. I like to eat a lot.
I simply told my nephew that because he loves burgers. I'm like, you should just go around to different restaurants, try their burgers, and make a video.
Girl, they making money off of it now,
They
though. That is,
are.
listen, I'm full, I'm in my purpose, and I got paid. That's a good day.
Yeah, so those are the questions you can ask yourself if you want to start the journey of discovering your purpose. And then sometimes you have to try different things and try different avenues or businesses or whatever the case may be. You have to try different things in order to find that true purpose. Because first of all, we got to remember to pray, because the enemy gonna come first and present his opportunities and make you think this is it when it's
Mm,
probably not it. The
right.
first one is probably not the one.
It
Maybe
ain't.
the first
Girl, it
two,
ain't
three,
never.
4, 5 for me.
It do not be the one. Okay? You just know. But that's
Pray,
what you gotta pray. I do, yep.
spend time with God, and just remember that it's going to be something that you already like to do. Sometimes you may have to develop your talent or develop your skills. Not necessarily, but sometimes you do. But
But listen, even with praying though, one thing that's important is when you're praying this prayer, this is not a prayer that you can pray loosely. And I think that this is where I messed up at, Kelly, because once this was last year, I started praying a prayer, God, let me be in your will and let me align with what you want. That is a dangerous prayer to pray if you are not serious about stepping into it and
oh yeah.
manifesting and that responsibility. So when you're praying these type of prayers, you have to pray them and be everything in intentional. You need to be it, because then you're gonna be sitting here on here like me saying ouch instead of amen, because your sister-in-law reminded you of something you said 2 years ago, and then it's 2 years
Hmm.
still ain't did it. But I was praying for that. And that's the thing about being that intentional, because you know that your purpose is going to be your purpose you desire when it kind of continues to make its way around. Like, I'm still here. It still hasn't changed. It's still sticking. You have those reminders. So you definitely have to be intentional with that prayer for sure.
And then also sometimes you have to start small. We may have
Mhm.
this big dream, this big vision, but we may have to take baby steps to get there. Like, I can give two examples. I can give a example in church and an example in my professional life. The job I
Mhm.
have, like, I had started to settle in my profession. I was like, you know what, this is it. I ain't gonna find nothing else, even
Mhm.
with 2 degrees, whatever. I'm gonna just settle right here. And then an
Mhm.
opportunity presented itself where I started off as like a part time, like very little hours
Mhm.
on this other position. But I was faithful. I was dedicated. I was like, yeah, I do it. It's extra money. I like a little extra income,
Matthew
and it
23.
grew over what it's been 5 years, and now I'm the finance and human resources manager, and I love it. I'm comfortable with it. Like I said, I do have challenges sometimes. I do have to learn new things. I have to go through some certain certifications sometimes, but this is where I'm supposed to be. And I truly feel that. And if I would have settled, I would have missed
Mhm.
this opportunity. And even with church, I started off um, as a youth secretary. Then I became like a church secretary, and I grew. And now, Carson and I were going to become the associate pastors of small groups. But we started off, well, I started off small. He came along. And then one day, Apostle put us, and I was like, I want y'all to be over the youth. Okay, we'll be over to you then. In a couple years later, now we're about to be the APs.
Right.
So sometimes you gotta start out small. Don't think that, oh yeah, that I'm too big for that. That's beneath me, baby. If it was picking up the trash, I'm gonna be the best trash picker upper. Cause eventually that may lead to something else. You just never know.
I'm gonna bedazzle mine. And you know what? When you said that you were faithful and you were happy over it, I thought about Matthew 25 and 23. And it says that because you were faithful over few, I'm now gonna bless you with many. So the heart
Yeah,
posture you also have when you're in those moments of small, because small ain't bad. Small
right,
sometimes where it's at. Because with small, you're gonna have peace. With small, you're gonna still be, comfortable, but still a little uncomfortable. So small isn't a terrible thing, but like you said, it's what you do with that small that might, going back to your question, unlock that next season of, okay, here's a change, but it's
right.
still, but here's that next level. Here's that peek behind the curtain. I hope y'all been paying attention because this was good. I learned a lot.
Yeah, babe, and not just with careers, even with your possessions. Like when I stayed in my mama house, I kept my little room clean. Then when I got the apartment, I kept that apartment clean. And now we have our own home, a nice size, and now we're about to bust out of this. But I had to be faithful over the little stuff.
Right.
Be faithful over the car that you have. Wash that car, sweep it out, vacuum it. You never know
Put the
what
head,
God want to bless you with. You
keep it
never know
up.
what God has in store for you. But if I can't trust you to keep this little hoopty clean, how am I bless you with a Benz or a Lexus or a Mercedes, and you won't keep the Honda clean?
Girl, listen, let me tell you
Put
something.
gas in the
Don't,
Honda. Keep it clean, washed up, and keep your house clean. Even if you got a 1 bedroom, baby, keep that 1 bedroom clean.
keep
You
it,
can't
even
keep
if
the
it's
bedroom 1 bedroom clean. You know what you gonna do with a 5 bedroom?
even if it's a studio, just wipe them windows. Do what you got to do.
Baby, clean that studio up. Make it smell good. Spray some air fresh.
Febreze plug-ins. Girl, them things is gonna
Yeah. Yeah, get your plug in, and they'll light up the whole room too.
in a small. Oh yeah, you all you need is one.
You need one. So be faithful over what you have. Be good stewards over the money you have. Even if you don't make a lot of money, be good stewards over that money, and God can trust you with more. You can't be
Right.
blessed with more if He can't trust you with a little bit. Like how you gonna
And
handle $1 million if $100 is causing you to blow your brains out?
and make sure you pay your taxes. Or if you don't pay your taxes, just go to Regal Nicole. She'll hook you up. Right.
Baby, them
Y'all,
three people I don't want to have a problem with: the IR or the S. No problems with them, baby. Mm-mm.
at all. Um, this has been so amazing. I don't know if I enjoyed the conversation of purpose or just the banter. Um, I'll say this until I'm blue in the face. I don't think I'll ever really be able to say it enough, but I love you. I appreciate you. I am honestly so happy that you are the person that God put in my brother's life because it just makes the most sense. I mean, and we're both Sagittarius, so I knew it would click. But I just love you, man, and I appreciate you for taking time out of your night, to do this with me, to have this conversation with the people. I know I've learned a lot. I hope that whoever is listening in, that you guys have heard something and that not only you hear it, but you actually apply it to whatever area of your life that you need to apply it in. It could be your purpose on your job, your purpose in your business, your purpose in your goals, your purpose in your relationship. We didn't even get to talk about relationship purpose, but just knowing that whatever you're doing, whoever you are, in whatever season you're in, there is a purpose for it. You just have to figure it out. You have to trust it. And most importantly, y'all have to pray about it. So thank you guys for listening. I know I be telling y'all this all the time that I'm gonna be back or whatever, but I'm gonna really be back for real,
She's
for
gonna
real.
be back.
I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna be back. But this was amazing. So thank you guys for listening. Kelly, thank you so much again for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. And you guys, remember, walk into your purpose. Nobody have excuse from this moment on.
at all. Ain't no excuses. None at all. Cause I'm finna go do all this editing. I'm gonna schedule it tonight. So don't nobody got no excuse after tomorrow.
Let's go. Let's get it.
Peace.